Hey there, Tania Gustafson here, your nutritionist and fitness coach. Welcome back to another episode of Fit Nutrition Podcast. Thank you for joining me. I'd love to know where you're tuning in and watching from. I'd love to know where all my listeners are coming in from and where you're at in the world with your health and fitness journey. So today we're going to talk about saying no. No is a complete sentence. So some of you out there might need to hear that. If you've ever been guilty of saying yes way too many times, I've got this topic out here today because I have been guilty of that numerous times in my lifetime. Just saying yes. You want to be positive, right? And everyone says you have to be positive, and we should be positive. And positive doesn't always mean saying yes. It doesn't. Because saying yes to too many things, having your plate overflow, having too many items on your list, or too many, things to do in a day, or too many people that you feel you need to please, or help, or support, or whatever it happens to be. Too many of those things is not a positive outcome. And I'm sure many of us have experienced that. And that's why I'm talking about this today. So if you've experienced that in any time in your life, drop a me down below, because I would just, hopefully I'm not all by myself here, and just preaching to the choir. But okay, so I want to dive in on this because, deciding where your boundaries are and what is most important to you. Because when we look back in life, there's an old saying that says, we will regret the things that we didn't do more than the things we did. Even if the things we did, we look back and go, oh, I'm not so happy with that. The things you didn't do that were important to you, that really held value to you, and you didn't dive in and do those things, those are the ones that cause the regret, that cause the angst, that cause the, oh my gosh, I really wish I would have done that, right? And so we don't want any of that. We don't want to look back on life and think that we missed out. And if we're saying yes to too many things that are not aligned with where we're going in life, whether it's with our health, our family, our faith, our finances, our business, our job, or community group, whatever it happens to be, wherever your focus is and your vision is, if all of those other things are not aligned with that, then you will find that it's, you're trying to be positive and saying yes to all these things, but it won't be the positive outcome that you're looking for. And it is okay to say no. I'm just going to come right out right now and just say at the very beginning here, it's okay to say no, because that's actually, it respects you. It respects yourself with your time and your energy and your resources and your brain power and your sanity, really, right? And it also then respects your family and your job and the community groups that you belong to and wherever else, because then when you say no to those things that aren't going to come in line with what your vision is and where your focus is and where you want to take your life in whatever stream it is where, you want to focus on here right now, then you are honoring that, and you're giving the amount of time and energy and attention that is due to those things. You're able to do that, right? You're not struggling and pulling yourself in so many directions. And so, thinking about how do we know which ones to say no to? Okay. So I heard this quite a while back, and it really made quite an impact on me. And so for those things that we're saying, I don't have time. If you find yourself saying, I don't have time a lot, put 2 me's down below. If it's been, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to go to the grocery store. I don't even have time for. If that's something that you find yourself saying, then you need to probably take a step back and go, okay, there's, the same amount of hours in the day, in the week, in the month, in the year, hours, minutes, seconds. Each one of us have the same amount of time as do the most successful people in the world, the most notable people out there, the people who have accomplished great and wonderful things in the world. And then we look at all they've done and we go, oh my gosh, and I can't even get my to-do list done in my house, and they've done, that. Well, they probably set up some good boundaries, and I'm sure they're learning to say no to those things that aren't in alignment with what they're doing. And so that's okay for you to do too. So instead of saying, I don't have time for, I want you to rephrase that and just say to yourself, that's not a priority for me. Okay, so if there's something that you're like, oh, I just don't have time for that, rephrase that and say, that's not a priority for me. Now, if it's, sitting down and watching your kid's soccer game and you're like, I don't have time for that, that might be a little red flag. If it's, I don't have time to pick up the groceries today, why not? You have to eat, right? So where are these, what else is taking up your time? And there's this really great, my friend Carrie Lupoli, she's also a wonderful behavior specialist, and she talks about the quadrant, right? So there's those things, and I'm just going to talk about two parts of the quadrant. And I should have had a little whiteboard here with me. Sorry about that. So you're just going to have to picture in your mind with me. But if you have things that are always important but urgent, and you're living in this state of urgency, you're always stressed, you're always up here, and you're always feeling like you're go. And we tend to say in those moments, oh, I don't have time, because you feel like you're always running. You ever wake up in the morning late, your alarm clock doesn't go off, or the power went out at night, whatever, and you wake up and you literally hit the ground running because you're like, I woke up half an hour late and I have to get all this ready before I can go out the door. It's like, oh my gosh, it's chaos. And you never really feel like you catch up, right? But if you, and that's just one day, but if you're living like that, because you're always in a state of where everything in your mind, in your world is important and urgent, and I must get it done now or today, then you are living in a heightened area of stress where you will be saying, I don't have time for a lot. Whereas now, if we can shift a little bit and decide, okay, if we change that phrasing, right, and say, okay, that's not a priority for me. If it comes back as, whoa, I don't think I can say that out loud, then that thing is a priority for you. So take note, that is an important item, and it should be something that you prioritize. So then what do we need to deprioritize? What are some of those urgent things that maybe aren't so urgent? They might be important, but they're probably not as urgent as you think they are. And so reassessing all of those things, and where can we pull out and where can we say no, so that the things that are truly important to us, the things that we can't bear to say, I don't have time for, or I can't do that anymore, I just can't fit it in, whatever your phrase is, then you won't be saying that anymore. You'll be like, oh, you'll actually feel like you have more time in the day, because you've restructured and you've prioritized. And instead of going from important and urgent and crazy, you've gone from, important to not urgent, but you have enough time to get all of those things done in a day, in a week. And then it just creates that extra space. So you don't feel like you're always running behind the gun, like always falling short, always, being late, or always, feeling that hitting the ground running. There's not really a better explanation in my mind that I can come up with, that just constant feeling. And I was at a seminar one time. I used to work in a school, right? Most of you know that. And we would have retreats every second year, and they brought in phenomenal speakers. And I remember this one speaker who came in, his name was David Welk. He was very good. And the thing that I have never forgotten, this was many years ago now, this was like way over a decade ago, and I took away from this, he said, the important things often get bullied and regulated by the urgent things. Bullied and regulated. So if we let those urgent things come in and bully us around and regulate what we are doing with our time and with our resources and with our energy, we're living in that important and urgent state, and that's not where we want to be, right? So, all right. So what I wanted to just impart to you today is to two things. So do you feel like, so ask yourself, do I feel like I'm hitting the ground running every day or most days? If that's you, okay, red flag. And then ask yourself that question about, am I saying I don't have time a lot? Or you're really struggling to make time for those things that you're saying I don't have time for. And then flip that around. I want you to use that verbiage, that flipping it, flip the switch, flip the verbiage around and say, that's not a priority for me now. And I want you to say it out loud. The next time you catch yourself saying, I don't have time, flip it around and say, that's not a priority for me right now. And if that makes you uncomfortable, then it clearly is a priority. And you need to think about what things you need to start saying no to, what things you need to deprioritize so that you can say yes to those things that are truly important. So I hope you got some value out of that today. If you did, please drop your comment below. Say yes if you got some value there. And let me know if that resonated with you, and what kind of mindset shift, like what sort of revelation, what sort of little aha moment did you have when you had to turn that verbiage around and say, that's not a priority for me? I'd love to hear your comments on that below. So thanks for joining me today. Quick little blurb today. It wasn't as long as some of the other podcasts, but I just wanted to hone in on that point. So I hope that that you got some value from this today. Thank you for joining me today on Fit Nutrition Podcast. Come back next time, same place, and I'd love to see you back again next week.